This is Art Television.
Coming up, State of Business, sponsored by
දැන් සියලුම SLT මොබිටෙල් සේවාවන් වලට My SLT app හරහා එකවර පිවිසීමේ හැකියාව.
IWS Aviation.
A very good evening. Welcome to State of Business on Art Television. I'm Mariam Vijayaratna. Let's have a look at the headlines first. Colombo Stock Exchange introduces a new app which simplifies all the proceedings. Both the export and imports were significantly higher in May 2021 than a year ago, Central Bank announces. News in detail. The Securities and Exchange Commission of Sri Lanka, along with the Colombo Stock Exchange, launched its second phase of the digitalization of the stock market recently under the patronage of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa at the Presidential Secretariat. The digital advancement process in Sri Lanka's capital market was commenced at the last quarter of last year, launching the first phase, which included custom onboarding to trade confirmation and execution of corporate actions. Following the COVID-19 outbreak in Sri Lanka in March 2020, the need to further digitize the operations of the stock market to ensure uninterrupted access, increase investor participation, enhance operational efficiencies and service standards became a top priority. Since the completion of the first phase of digitalization and the launch of the mobile application, total app downloads exceeds 65,000 and approximately 17,000 new central depository system accounts were opened via the mobile app. The new CSC mobile app, a comprehensive investor platform, will grant access to investor portfolios from any part of the world. That also enables viewing of past transactions and monthly statements, as well as provide investors with a host of other benefits, including the ability to request changes to master files, research reports. The app aims at significantly simplifying the investment experience, create greater value for investors, as well as for the long-term development of the market. The latest features of the mobile app include CDS eConnect, MyCSC, benefiting a wide range of stakeholders of the stock market. CSC website also features Investor, the CSC trilingual chatbot or the voice assistant function with the second phase of digitalization, enabling a productive user experience with increased expediency. This initiative will also enable local companies to open CDS accounts through the mobile app and enable investors to apply for IPOs from anywhere, as well as assess the progress of their IPO applications. Going forward, further digitalization of the stock market with the third phase due to be completed by the fourth quarter of 2021. The government has published a tax amnesty bill which would indemnify persons who voluntarily disclose taxable supply, income or assets against liability from investigation, prosecution and penalties. The Cabinet of Ministers last week has approved the finance bill, which has been published in the Gazette ahead of its tangling in Parliament. The provisions of the bill will apply to any person who has not disclosed any amount of taxable supply, income or assets which were required to be disclosed under the provisions of any law. The bill speaks about any value-added tax return for any taxable period ended on or prior to 31st March 2020 or in a return of income for any year of assessment ended on or prior to 31st March 2020. The bill provides for a person who intends to invest an amount equivalent to the undisclosed taxable supply, income or assets immediately. It also allows to invest such amount in the purchase of shares issued by a resident company, treasury bills or treasury bonds issued by the central bank on behalf of the government of Sri Lanka. This can be done on or after the date of commencement of this act, but prior to 31st December 2021. In case a person is unable to immediately invest such an amount available in cash, whether in Sri Lankan rupees or in foreign currency, he shall deposit such amount in a bank account on or after the date of commencement of this Act, but prior to 31st December 2021. The government says the new bill is to encourage entrepreneurs to disclose and invest undisclosed income and assets. The law will not apply to any person in relation to whom investigations or legal proceedings are pending in relation to any undisclosed taxable supply, income or assets, or any person who has been convicted of a related offence. Government announced that launch of online and SMS-based appointment system for COVID vaccination appointments available from the beginning of this week. Almost all mobile telecommunication providers in the country has joined in the move. The Information and Communication Technology Agency, in close collaboration with the National Operations Centre for Prevention of COVID-19 Outbreak, the Telecom Regulatory Commission and mobile operators launched an online SMS-based appointment system for COVID vaccination appointments. The vaccination drive was initiated to ensure streamlined delivery of the first dose of the Sinopharm vaccine, targeting those above 30 years of age residing in the Colombo, Gampaha and Kaluthara districts. Eligible citizens can schedule an online appointment at www.vaccine.covid19.gov.lk. The general public have also been facilitated to register via SMS to 1906. Meanwhile, the Japanese government have pledged to provide 1.45 million AstraZeneca vaccines to Sri Lanka through the COVAX facility. The Japanese embassy in Colombo said that decision was taken in response to the request by the government of Sri Lanka and as a part of Japan's support for ensuring equitable access to safe and effective vaccines for as many people as possible in the fight against COVID-19. An official from the embassy said that the vaccines would arrive in Sri Lanka from Japan during the coming weeks. Japan has already provided cold chain equipment through UNICEF to store and distribute vaccines around the country. We'll be right back after this short commercial break.
ඒත් නෑනේ පොළගාවේ නම් තිබුණලු
මම ගියා එහෙත් ඉවරයි
කාර් එකයි කෝටි ගොඩයි ටිකට් එකයි දිනුම් දෙකයි සම්පත ලග්නවර්ම මාසිකම එකයි
පරක්කු වෙලා වාසනාව නැති කරගන්න එපා
ජාතික ලොතරැයි මණ්ඩලය
ඇත්තටම උත්තරය ඇත්ත එකම එක සැබැඳියාවක ගෙදරට වැඩකට ගමනට එකම එක සැබැඳියාවක බැඳෙන මුළු මහත් රටකට Good morning sir how can I help
SLT Mobitel එකම එක සැබැඳියාව
ඒත් නෑනේ පොළගාවේ නම් තිබුණලු
මම ගියා එහෙත් ඉවරයි
කාර් එකයි කෝටි ගොඩයි ටිකට් එකයි දිනුම් දෙකයි සම්පත ලග්නවර්ම මාසිකම එකයි
පරක්කු වෙලා වාසනාව නැති කරගන්න එපා
ජාතික ලොතරැයි මණ්ඩලය
ඔබේ මොබයිල් සබඳතාවය කුමක් වුවත් දැන් ඔබ යන තැන එන ලංකාවේ සුපිරිම අන්ලිමිටඩ් ඉන්ටර්නෙට් පාසුකම SLT Go Prepaid. SLT Go Wi-Fi ඇති ඕන තැනක ඕනෑම වෙලාවක අන්ලිමිටඩ් data. SLT Mobitel එකම එක සමදියාව.
Welcome back after the break. Central Bank today announced that both exports and imports were significantly higher in May 2021 than in May 2020, mainly due to the statistical effect of pandemic-related disruptions a year ago. The deficit in trade account widened on a year-on-year basis for the third consecutive month in May 2021. Central Bank said that earnings from exports increased while imports declined in May 2021 compared to the previous month. During the month, workers' remittances continued to increase while earnings from tourism remained at minimal levels. In the financial account, foreign investment in the government securities market and the Colombo Stock Exchange recorded marginal net outflows in May 2021. Meanwhile, the Sri Lankan rupee remained broadly stable throughout the month and gross official reserves stood at $4 billion by the end of May this year. The CBSL report also said that trade deficit widened on year-on-year basis for the third consecutive month in May 2021 to $716 million compared to $407 million recorded in May 2020. Great increase in import expenditure as against the increase in export earnings in May 2021 over May 2020 resulted in the widening of the trade deficit. However, the trade deficit showed a month-on-month improvement in May 2021 compared to $889 million in April 2021. The cumulative trade deficit widened to $3,663 million during the period from January to May 2021 from $3,101 million recorded in the corresponding period in 2020. Central Bank also added that expenditure on merchandise imports in May 2021 increased notably by 61.7% to $1,607 million from import expenditure of $994 million in May 2020. However, import expenditure in May 2021 was lower when compared to the imports of $1,707 million in April 2021, supported by lower expenditure in all major import sectors. Central Bank today announced that the cumulative export earnings during January to May amounted to $8,356 million, recording an increase of 26.2% over the same period in 2020. Expenditure on the importation of both food and beverages and non-food consumer good categories declined in May 2021 on both year-on-year and month-on-month basis. Under food and beverages, items such as sugar and confectionery, fruits and dairy products, mainly milk powder and cheese, recorded lower import expenditure in May 2021 compared to a month ago. However, import expenditure on vegetables, mainly lentils and onions, coconut oil, chilies and coriander seeds and seafood increased in May 2021 on a month-on-month basis. Import expenditure on almost all subcategories of non-food consumer goods declined in May 2021 compared to April 2021, led by low expenditure on home appliances, mainly refrigerators and televisions, medical and pharmaceuticals, and clothing and accessories. In May 2021, import expenditure on fuel, fertilizer, wheat and maize, vehicles and machinery parts, and rubber and articles declined. However, import expenditure on base metals, mainly iron and steel, chemical products, plastics and articles, and textile articles increased on a month-on-month basis. Import expenditure on fuel, which consists crude oil, refined petroleum and coal, declined in May 2021 compared to April 2021, and the decline was attributed to lower import volumes despite the increase in import prices. The average import price of crude oil increased to $68.47 per barrel in May 2021 compared to $66.44 per barrel in April 2021. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a positive note today. The all-share price index gained by 25.88 points to close at 7,939.35, and the S&P SL 20 gained by 9.90 points to close at 3,012.17. The turnover was 2 billion rupees and over 126 million shares were traded. Up next are Forex rates. That's all we have for today. See you tomorrow at the usual time. Until then, take care. Good night.
දැන් සියලුම SLT මොබිටෙල් සේවාවන් වලට My SLT app